Welcome back to Nutrapreneur, the premier platform for diving into the forefront of the nutraceutical industry. I'm your host, Bethany. Today, we're honored to have Brian Littlefield. He is the visionary co-founder and chief product officer at Jocko Fuel. With a rich background in entrepreneurship and a passion for clean, effective nutritional products, Brian has been instrumental in steering Jocko Fuel to the pinnacle of health supplement innovation. Today, we explore the drive, dedication, and innovation behind Jocko Fuel's success. Welcome, Brian. It's so great to have you today.
Hey, thank you for having me on, Bethany. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, so first, I think it'd be great if you could share with us the journey that led to the inception of Jocko Fuel and what role your expertise played in its foundation.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey for sure. So I'll try and summarize it. But um, so basically, I had a personal journey that aligned with my educational one as well. So I grew up in like a very competitive sports household, but at the same time, I was the baby, so I was the last of many brothers who played lots of sports, and I did so myself, but stopped like early on in high school. And so in doing that, I didn't get the genetic gift that my brothers did. So put on a bunch of weight and got very, I would say, unhealthy, and went off to college, continued down that path, and somewhere in the middle of college, getting my education, I had an epiphany and decided to find my path of health and to try and kind of reclaim myself. And I am one of those people that finds myself going down, like when I lock on to something, I'm just there, and like until it happens, like I'm not done. And that's what it was. So not only did I decide to literally just take control of my health, I also am a big person that, like, I really like, I've always been attracted to this thing of leverage, which is why I think I was also attracted to martial arts and jujitsu. And so I love the idea of leverage. And when I realized that you could leverage, uh, these ingredients, nutraceuticals, for health benefits, whether that be for, weight loss or muscle gain and recovery, I found that extremely appealing. So I found myself like getting done my classes, completing my coursework, staying up all night reading clinical literature on, you know, herbs and amino acids and electrolytes and everything else that you could think of, and just totally went down this rabbit hole. Fast forward, I graduated school, and I had a job lined up in the financial sector, and I got the rug pull. I was actually one of the first in my class. I actually got the rug pulled last minute. And so I found myself like back, you know, back at square one. And I had been training jujitsu for many years at this time. And I had become that person that people just came to for nutritional advice and supplemental advice. And so I went to my jujitsu instructor at the time, who had this location in a little mini mall. And I said, "Hey, we have more space here. Would you be interested?" Because everybody comes to me, including him. I said, "Would you be interested in opening up like a small brick and mortar supplement store? I've got some cash. Do you want to go in on this? And I'll run it." And so I did that. And I ran this small independent nutritional store. I pulled in product from all kinds of different brands. And when you're in that space, every brand imaginable sends you samples and literature, and their sales people will stop by. And so it was like this 3 years, 3 to 4 years of like just gathering an insane amount of knowledge about the actual space and what the customer wanted. So I had this ability to engage one on one with the customer face to face, and really kind of understand like what they're looking for in a product, and what this type of customer is looking for in a product. So an invaluable amount of time that I was able to take and then go into the ecom world. So at that time, I had met Pete Roberts, the founder of Origin, and a whole other field of business, but it was in the manufacturing of basically martial arts equipment, the gis for Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I ended up closing down my shop, dissolving my business, and moving back to Maine. I was in Ohio at the time, moving back to Maine and partnering with Pete. And we launched a nutritional division of this DTC business that was manufacturing clothing and focused on that subculture of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We operated that for about a year. And that's when we got introduced to Jocko. And when Jocko came on, he originally came on interested in the American manufacturing of, you know, everything that we were doing at the time. And then we talked about the nutritional side of things. And he didn't have a good taste in his mouth from some previous experiences he had in the nutritional world, like where he was, you know, the Consumer Report came out about protein and heavy metals, and he was, you know, him and all of his kids, which if you know anything about Jocko, you can imagine what his kids are like. They are also specimens. So they were in sports, they were active, getting ready to go off to the military. His son was. And so he took their health and wellness very serious. And so when that Consumer Report came out, it didn't leave a good taste in his mouth, rightfully so. And so when we talked, you know, he was like, can we do this the right way? And, you know, that's what we decided to do, was just like put, you know, people before the profits, be very meticulous with our formulations and our manufacturing partners, and our testing protocols, and just do it right. And that's what we decided to do. So we launched that in the very end of 2017 with one product. And from there, we are where we're at today, you know, 8 years later, basically.
Yeah, that's incredible how your personal experience and connection to martial arts and the people within that community allowed you to be a part of such an amazing brand.
Yeah.
And this is a competitive market. So, how does Jocko Fuel distinguish itself, especially regarding its commitment to clean, superior fuel for body and mind?
Yeah. So one of the first things we were known for was keeping formulas data driven, but also transparent. So we didn't have a bunch of fluff ingredients in there. But the other reason why we didn't was because we didn't use proprietary formulas. So like there was no proprietary blends. It was very straightforward. Everything was transparent. And then we sweetened everything early on with exclusively with monk fruit. Now we've added the ability to do so with Reb M from fermented sugarcane and allulose and other things that have come along since. But we decided we weren't going to use any artificial flavors or sweeteners at that time. And we kind of held that line. And so, which was hard early on, you know, because the flavor technology and sweetener technology since even 2017 has come so far. So, naturally, I should say. So we became, you know, known as the brand that's like, okay, you're going to get transparent formulas. So you know exactly what you're getting and how much. And if you want natural flavors and sweeteners, we kind of came that brand.
Yeah, no, that's great. So this concept of clean fuel is really central to your brand, I would say. And so how do you ensure the purity and efficacy of your ingredients? And what challenges have you faced in maintaining this standard?
Yeah, we have faced challenges a lot actually. And so as far as maintaining quality and efficacy, everything we do is third party tested. And we also probably go a step beyond, I think, what most brands would do, which we have our own internal retain program, which most brands just rely solely on the co-manufacturer. We actually do both. So we do what we would normally be standard by the FDA. We also learned early on, and we did this for transparency reasons and also the ability to be nimble. We like the idea of being like speed is on our side. So where bigger brands move slowly, we have found the advantage of being able to move really quickly. We embrace really Jocko's origins, which are the SEAL teams, and the ability for a small team to work in harmony, but very quickly. And so one thing we realized early on was like, okay, well, if we have a customer that calls in and says, hey, my chocolate protein doesn't taste the same this month, and then we have to go, okay, do we still have that lot number in the warehouse? No. Okay, so we need to contact the manufacturer. We need to have them send us a sample because they have the retain. No, what we decided to do is we built our own retain program. So literally in our warehouse, caged up, and dated and tracked to a T. Like we can go there and literally sample it and get back to the customer in 30 minutes. And so the ability to do that and say, hey, no, we think it's right, or yeah, you're onto something. We will dig into it and we'll get back to you with a more in detail response. That helped us out a lot. So I think we take our quality and our commitment to the customer a little bit more serious than average. And then as far as like some of the challenges, I mean, we've had, you know, ingredient suppliers go totally radar, go bankrupt, and then you have to pivot. And, um, when you have a commitment to like clean or niche ingredients, you have um, you have more risk. You just do. You have more risk because if you have an issue, you don't have as many options to pivot to. And so
Right.
we've had to go, we've had those hurdles where we've had a manufacturer um literally go bankrupt. And then so we had to pivot on a raw material.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially just, the last several years, I feel like supply chain has been a huge challenge for a lot of people in this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID really threw a wrench in things. When COVID actually hit and there was the aluminum shortage, there was a lot of our we actually had to pivot off seas for our printed cans for aluminum because we were using American manufacturing. But what happened was between staffing shortages with them and the concerns from larger players, they were able to buy up the supply and it just pushed us, overseas. And so then you don't have a line of sight to, hey, containers are going to go from $3,000 to $30,000 a shipping container. And you don't factor that into the equation because you just don't know. So yeah, that's business though. I mean,
Right.
that's just, you pivot, you try and make the most data-driven, education-based response. You're just like, I got to use some intuition and I got to use data, and you try and make the best decision at the time, and you just work with it.
This episode is brought to you by NutraPayments.com. If your business needs credit card processing that fully integrates with most major Nutra software platforms, offers the lowest industry prices, and has built-in features like recurring billing, $0 trials, and chargeback prevention, then visit us at NutraPayments.com for a free online quote. Innovation is also a big piece in the dietary supplement world, and Jocko Fuel is known for its innovative products like Brain Power and Combat Tested 2.0. So can you talk with us a little bit about your product development process and the science behind it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the way we like to look at products, we have different kind of like hierarchies of when we're looking at entering a new category, how do we break down how we're going to enter? And so one of the ways is like on anything that we're going to do, we try and check all the boxes for the consumer. And what I mean by that is some brands will like they'll do the we know you don't want these ingredients, so that's what we're going to be about. Or we know you do want these ingredients, so that's what we're going to be about. We try and be about both. So we try and give the consumer everything they want and none of the things they don't want. And when you really look at a category, most brands will get like, and not to like, throw shade at anybody, but like most brands or like most products will get like 80% of the way there. And for a lot of consumers, that's enough. Like they're like, cool, I'm willing to start. Like a great example is maybe a lot of brands are starting to use proprietary or get rid of rather, sorry, proprietary blends. So they'll use a transparent formula. They'll use natural flavors. Maybe they're not even using preservatives, but they're still using like sucralose. And I'm not here to demonize sucralose, but you're kind of like, okay, I'm trying to make a healthy, clean product, but you stopped right at the end, for what that consumer is looking for. And so why not go all the way? So that's what we decide to do at a high level is like, okay, cool. We're going to give them everything they want, none of the things they don't. And if we can't do that, we won't do it. So then going down below that, I also really try and get into the mindset of what the consumer desires from an efficacy standpoint. So a really good example is like with the brain power is a perfect example. That's the one I'll use. There's classically known nootropic ingredients or products that have been on the market for a long time where they're great products and with constant consumption over time, you're definitely going to find a benefit. That said, sometimes people want to feel the benefits now. And so what we did with brain power is like, okay, there's going to be those ingredients in there, cholinergic ingredients, um, you know, uh, adaptogenic ingredients that are shown like they're going to give you some benefit now, but they're really going to also help you over the long term for your cognition. But then we're going to add in like, okay, what can help you right now? So if you go to grab this product and because those other products, like if you're not taking them for a long period of time, you're not going to find a net benefit of consuming it before a big meeting. You're like, oh shit, I didn't prepare for this board meeting. I need to go in here and I need to be a little bit more on point. What can I do? Like taking that product is going to do nothing for you. But where something with like brain power is, yes, there's ingredients that are benefiting you over time, but there's also an ingredient formula in there that's going to help you immediately. So that's where we have kind of our tri-stage caffeine, teocrine, and dynamine, where they all have different half-lives, where it's like, okay, I'm going to go get an instant dopaminergic and stimulatory effect where I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be not only on point, but I'm going to be feeling good at the same time, which there's nothing better than being in a pressure situation and actually feeling good. Dopamine is a good thing. We like that. It feels good. So I try and look at things differently than just like, hey, um, what can give someone a cognitive benefit over time? It's like, okay, how can we meet that criteria? It's like we want to give them a benefit that's going to grow over time, but people also want that and need that benefit now. So that's one way that we look at things, I think, a little bit differently.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very intentional with your formulations. You're not just picking a few popular ingredients and throwing them together and hoping that it works. You're actually taking it a bit further and looking into how is this product actually going to work and how quickly is it going to work. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
And I think, you all kind of talked about this already, but quality and sourcing are a paramount part of your operation. So, how do you navigate the complexities of global sourcing and also maintain rigorous quality control?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We kind of touched on that a little bit. We have a great quality and sourcing team, really high level individuals we've pulled in from. We're very fortunate. We have built a team. One thing we learned early on is it's important to know what you don't know and to surround yourself with those people that know what you don't know. So we brought in some really high level people to our board and our advisor group, basically, and they were able to help us pull in just absolute savages from other industries that were able to come in and help with things like locking down supply chain, procurement, quality. So we have a phenomenal team, and I really believe that's the core to why we have the success that we have is because of our team. It's not because of any one thing or idea or individual. It's literally the team. So I have to emphasize that. And then as far as like maintaining supply with all the complexity that's going on right now, I'd say we have an emphasis on relationships where I think a lot of people get lost in the chaos of business and it becomes very transactional.
Mhm.
There's nothing that can move mountains more than having a one-on-one relationship with someone where you can call in and be like, and you actually have equity with them. Like you actually have social equity with them where they're actually going to say, you know what, they I am going to prioritize you and I'm going to find a way to get this done for you. And if you don't build those relationships genuinely, you're not going to have that equity. And it, it, time is money. And when you can call in those favors because you've spent the time developing the relationship, it's invaluable. It has been absolutely invaluable for us. We've been able to overcome a lot of deadlines and hurdles that I think under normal circumstances we would not be able to.
Absolutely. Relationships are so important, especially in this industry. And, this market often, I think, is known for its quick fixes. So, how does Jocko Fuel's philosophy of no shortcuts influence your product development and company ethos?
Yeah, yeah. So I having been here since day one, me, so myself, my partner Pete Roberts, and Jocko, having founded the company, we had a commitment to each other, and most importantly, Pete and I to Jocko is neither one of us, uh, and we relay this to anyone who comes on the team or try to, is like nobody wants to ruin the legacy of one of the most respected individuals in what I would consider like modern American history. It's like he between being a Navy SEAL for 20 years and a commanding officer and a best-selling author and featured in, all forms of media and just a highly respected individual that he is. Like nobody wants to ruin that by making shortcuts. So we kind of don't make it an option. It's kind of like there are no shortcuts. And it's, part of his ethos as well, right? I mean, that's literally what he says, right? You got to do the work. There's no shortcuts, but we have a legacy to protect. Like I take that very seriously. Um, there's a legacy to protect, and that comes way before, you know, interests of investors or partners or anything else. Like that legacy is number one. And you have to protect the man and you have to protect the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of companies that do resort to those quick fixes find that wasn't so quick in the end. They have a lot of other issues that take a lot of time to resolve. So it's better to just do it right the first time.
Yeah, and you learn quickly. We call those tuition payments. Like you make those tuition payments when you make hasty or quick decisions or quick fixes, and they might save you in the moment, but like you said, they typically come back to bite you. Yeah.
Yeah. And given your focus on clean and effective supplements, how do you see Jocko evolving in the future with trends in the nutraceutical industry, dietary supplement industry? What do you see for the future?
Oh man. Um, so I would say it's just well, number one, it depends on a lot of regulation. That with everything coming through right now on the regulatory side, there's a lot of, you know, interested parties and agencies that would like to have a lot more scrutiny, a lot more control over the industry, for better or worse. Um, Not here to debate that, but I think that could potentially flip the industry on its head. Um, Trying to take a realistic approach, but outside of that, I would say I think that the push for clean products and transparent products and efficacy is going to go even further. So I hope to see a lot more money spent by not just ingredient companies on clinical data and research, but also brands. Like I'd like to see a lot more brands doing clinical research on their products and formulas. We've done some, we plan to do more, and I think it's really important. I think to continue to build trust and maintain trust with consumers, I think it's important that you do that, especially with the wave of you know, the Andrew Hubermans and the Rhonda Patricks and the Dr. Ids, like these very educated and well-spoken individuals that are able to unpack the data and talk to the general person. on, a basic level. I think it's important that we provide that to them, that they're not reliant solely on, you know, just, data from pharma or, um, you know, like the three-letter agencies. I think it's important that we provide legit, self-funded data. So that's one of the pushes that I'm going to be uh, leaning into.
Yeah, and I think consumers are definitely becoming more educated and they want to see that data and want to understand more about what they're putting into their bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. People, through COVID, for a lot of reasons, just don't, uh, they question things more.
Mhm.
They're saying, okay, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I want to understand a little bit more. I'm not just going to go with the flow. So yeah, and that's really what I mean, is like just getting in front of it. Like, let's get in front of it with transparency and build trust with consumers and give them what they're asking for. And people, the way that people have eaten up these science related podcasts and media channels just goes to show, like, people want a higher level of understanding. And like, if you don't give it to them, you may get left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. And, looking ahead even further, are there any exciting projects or products that are coming along for Jocko that consumers can anticipate?
Yeah, we're so our biggest launch of the year this year is our hydration ready to drink product. That's something that we're very excited about. I'm personally excited because, having developed the formula, it's what, in my opinion, people should get from a hydration product. It's a balance of more closely related to like what you actually lose when you sweat, right? Predominantly chloride and sodium, followed by potassium and magnesium. But we also have a little bump in potassium and magnesium because those are typically seen as deficiencies in the Western diet. So it, it's it's pretty, what's specific to us, right? That's our ratio. And I don't like using the word proprietary because it has that negative connotation, but it is proprietary to us. But a lot of the hydration, in my opinion, the hydration market has actually gone backwards. You had
Mhm.
the originals like Gatorade, which, you know, really were a little bit watered down from an electrolyte perspective of what you actually lose in like a really intense workout. But directionally, they were correct. And then you had products come along and it's like 10 milligrams of sodium and 800 milligrams of potassium. Like, that's not fixing an electrolyte imbalance.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a potassium supplement. So what we've done is we've taken the approach of replacing what you actually lose and then helping make up some deficiency. And nobody's done that yet. And so we're excited. We're launching in June. And so it'll be out for summer of 24. And we think it's going to be big. And of course, naturally flavored and sweetened. And the great thing about this product is, because like our energy drink has a lot of active ingredients in it, it's harder to flavor naturally to the level at which like sucralose or, um, Ace K or something does. However, because it's mainly just electrolytes and water, we're not put at so much of a disadvantage to be able to sweeten. So it's, one of those products where, taste wise, I'll put it up against the rest of the category because we don't have a bunch of actives to mask. So I'm really happy the way it turned out. We kept it clear. Just we just thought it's more with what people are looking for right now. So I don't know. We're very excited to launch that and bring it to the marketplace.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And I know hydration is on the mind of a lot of people right now, and it sounds like you're doing it right. So, really exciting.
Thank you.
Well, once again, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today. As we conclude today's insightful conversation with Brian Littlefield of Jocko Fuel, we're reminded of the power of unwavering dedication to health, quality, and innovation. To our listeners, we encourage you to explore the remarkable range of products offered by Jocko Fuel, designed to empower your health journey. For those eager to learn more about Jocko Fuel and its commitment to superior nutrition, check out the links provided in the episode description. Don't forget to subscribe, share your thoughts, and follow us on social media for the latest in nutritional advancements. Until next time, stay informed and inspired as we continue to explore the dynamic world of nutraceuticals.